Stress Escape Method. Hello, this is your Health Digest channel. We always produce videos for your health management with information from Korean health management specialists and researchers in related fields. Is there anyone who hasn't subscribed yet? Please subscribe and like right now. And please share it with your loved ones so that we can all live healthy lives. For modern people, stress is the biggest enemy in life. Chronic stress affects the body and mind due to stress hormones. Furthermore, modern people who have to deal with stress that comes from multiple sources at the same time rather than just one place are becoming more and more anxious. It seems that the 21st century will be recorded as a century from which we cannot escape due to economic insecurity and increasingly narrowing social pressure. What is stress? There are many definitions, but the following definition is also quite well explained. Stress comes from the difference between expectations and reality. It is a simple definition, but it has great implications. Dr. Selye, who first discovered the existence of stress, said, "Stress occurs when you cannot adapt to change." If we combine these two definitions of stress and come up with a new definition of stress, we can say that stress is a state of mind and body that comes from not being able to adapt to a reality that is different from what we expected. When faced with an unexpected reality, we judge the given reality based on our previous knowledge and experience recorded in our brain's memory. If there is no memory, there is no stress. Memory at this time is subjective. Therefore, the judgment of the reality we encounter based on our subjective memory cannot help but be subjective. This point can be said to be the most important thing in understanding stress. In other words, stress comes from subjective judgment. Of course, there is also objective stress. Natural disasters, abnormal weather, and other surrounding situations that can be felt with a person's five senses can also act as stress. However, even this objective stress can have different levels of intensity depending on whether we subjectively accept it. The phrase fight or run is always used when explaining stress. It was first described by Dr. Walter Cannon of Harvard University in the early 20th century. It is an explanation of how our bodies physiologically react when we are in a stressful situation. If we encounter a tiger, everyone is surprised first. The same goes for stress. When we are stressed, our heart beats faster. A faster heartbeat is a physiological function that sends more blood from the heart to the whole body. The amount of blood is constant. We need to redistribute blood circulation. The reason is simple. The amount of blood is constant, but since there's a place that needs more, we need to find a place that needs less blood and minimize the blood circulation that goes there in order to send more blood there. This is because only then will there be more blood to send to the place that needs it. We need to first understand this basic physiological function of stress in order to properly understand the state of our body after stress is restored to normal. When our body is stressed, the heart beats faster first to increase blood circulation through the heart. Equals palpitations. The heart beats faster and blood pressure rises to increase the power of blood pumping. Equals hypertension. A lot of blood goes to the joints and muscles. This is for a lot of power and quick reflexes. Equals joint and muscle pain. Blood glucose increases to increase power. Equals diabetes or metabolic syndrome. If this condition continues for a long time, blood fat also increases to increase power. Equals hyperlipidemia. A lot of blood also goes to the brain to make quick decisions. You see things that others cannot see and hear things that others cannot hear. Equals nervousness. There are organs that do not require much blood circulation under stress. Therefore, if stress continues for a long time, the following physiological effects occur in these organs: gastrointestinal system, indigestion, constipation, nervous gastroenteritis. Skin. Blood circulation to the skin decreases, so the skin, including the hands and feet, becomes cold. Reproductive organs. Sexual motivation disappears. This leads to infertility and erectile dysfunction. Immune system. The importance of immunity is pushed back due to stress. This is why we become vulnerable to viruses such as colds when we are stressed. It is not unrelated to chronic stress and the occurrence of cancer. It is good to learn relaxation techniques such as yoga, meditation, progressive muscle relaxation, guided imagery, and Tai Chi, and incorporate them into our daily lives. These techniques induce a relaxation response. Negative thoughts and talking to oneself can worsen stress, lethargy, despair, and depression, and have a negative impact on our health. Expand your interpersonal relationships by making positive contact with friends and relatives. Research has shown that socially isolated people are vulnerable to stress. It is said that you can reduce stress by helping others, reducing your thoughts about yourself, and serving others. You can reduce stress by setting goals, making plans, and taking control of yourself and your life by making decisions. Exercising for 30 minutes a day not only reduces stress, but is also good for your health and helps the growth of new neural units in the brain. If you eat a balanced, low-fat diet and supply the brain with adequate carbohydrates through the consumption of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, it will help the metabolism of serotonin, which relaxes the brain and reduces stress. According to research, people are more bothered by worries about small things than by worries about big things. This is something to think about carefully. Rather than finding yourself on your own, when you rely on the absolute to find yourself and establish your position, you will realize that stress from those around you is a process. It is better to think of it as a process of unpacking a bundle of gifts given to you than to think of it as a burden given to you. For reference, the current average life expectancy of Koreans is 90 years for women and 86 years for men as of 2024, which is one of the longest average life expectancies in the world. It has increased by more than 5 years compared to 10 years ago, and the average life expectancy of Koreans is increasing every year. I hope you all always watch our Health Digest channel and always live a healthy life. Everything gets better after a good night's sleep. In many cases, the worries that you had when you went to bed are much smaller when you wake up in the morning. Of course, this is the case when you have had a good night's sleep. However, if you wake up in the morning after a bad night's sleep, you may have bigger worries than the night before. Good sleep not only restores your physical health, but also makes your thoughts run smoothly. Was today's content helpful? Don't forget to subscribe and like and turn on notifications. Be sure to click all of them right now. I'll be back next time with more useful content from Korean health care experts. Thank you for watching.